we'll we'll do a quick apology to Western Province, but we do know you worked, so it's cool. Nathan, by the way, the coolest name in powerlifting, Nathan Brent Michael-Steyn. How are you? And welcome to
So,
Coffee and Conversations with Powerlifting. Don't tell me I got the name wrong
how's
now
it?
after starting that entrance.
No, no, no. So I know there's quite a few names, Nick. So fine. Firstly, thank you for having me. My name is Nathan. You are indeed correct.
Hmm.
But there's been a few nicknames over the years. So it's been Nate, it's been Zaddy Nate, it's been
Zeddy Nate.
Latino,
Yep.
it's been Natty Nate. So there's been quite a few names.
I love it, love it, love it. Epic.
Yeah.
Sure. How you doing, man? It's so good to see you to finally chat. Sorry about last week. I'm just going to change
No, no, no.
I'm going to zoom in a bit on you. So,
Cool.
we did have a little bit of a challenge last week with my
Yeah.
ears, but they're all back. We're all good. And it's awesome to
That's
be
good to
chatting
hear.
to you, dude. And I think one of the things that we're chatting to you, and I've actually been speaking to some of the other powerlifters, and something that's
Mm-hmm.
really important for South African powerlifting, but I mean, we'd be happy to do it with any of the powerlifters in the country or in
Yeah.
the world, really is, traveling to international events is really expensive. And we also wanted to just chat about your fundraiser as well. So before we get into that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Natty Nate, I love that. That's the cool one. I'm just going to call you the. Oh, you know what? You're the White Nate, not a white knight, a white
The
Nate.
white knight.
Yeah, white Nate. No, near
Just
vit.
because
Oh
of
man. No,
it's just
like you got
because
a
of
white knight, you
the
got a white Nate.
nationals.
Yeah, a white
Yeah.
knight. There
Yeah.
we
It's
go.
just
The
because
white
of
Knight.
the nationals. It's just because of the nationals outfit.
The most, again, legendary outfit in powerlifting. You rock that, dude. And I know when
Thank
we had
you.
load
Thank you.
shedding, they called you out onto the platform because you could at least light up the event.
I could light up the event. No, no, no. Thank you so much, and thanks for the amazing photos. Like you took some really, really good ones. So I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you for making yourself available, and
Only a
also like
pleasure.
just yeah, just being there for the powerlifting community, streaming our live content so that our family members and our friends and everyone back home can also tune in and see what we love to do. So thanks for that. Yeah.
No, an absolute pleasure. And I love the fact that a lot of the photos that the guys are posting are the ones I took from
Mm.
behind with the spotlights because I just thought that's such a great view. And everyone's like,
Right?
well, huh?
It's amazing. And the shot that you got of me and Crystal in the
Yeah,
passageway. Oh, it's absolutely
phenomenal.
epic. So
Well,
thank you so much for that.
you
Yeah.
are welcome, but hold on one second. Sorry,
Yeah.
don't want to get myself into trouble. All of those shots are great, but I'm just adjusting my mic level here quickly. However, let's chat
Sure.
about, before we get started, your squat face.
Mhm.
Dude, that was a proper
Say
intense,
that again.
your,
Sorry.
your squat face. That photo, that was a
My
man
what?
working for that.
What? Say
You were
say that
not
again. Say that
stopping.
again.
Huh?
Oh, my squad. Listen, listen, Nick, that squat face made it onto the not the voice. So you've got the Afrikaans version of the voice, the Son.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it made it onto one of the pages in the Son on Thursday last week. So that picture is traveling. I think I've got a few people that have asked me like, what the hell? So I'm like, listen here, that's what you have to do. You have to give it your all. Otherwise, it's not the boss, not coming up.
No, 100%. So wait,
Yeah.
so that photo's been published in the paper.
It was published last week,
Okay. I
so
need a copy,
there's
please.
a
Come
there's a
on.
guy. I'll send it to you after our call. Yeah, so it's
Beautiful.
in very high Afrikaans,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that you'll be
Maki
able to
Sakni.
decipher it.
Yeah,
I
100%.
actually have a friend that's a Polish friend that lives in the UK, and she actually translated the post. I didn't know you could do that from an actual photo, so she
Yeah,
actually managed to transcribe it as well. So
sure.
yeah, the photo is or the article's doing the rounds.
But dude, that's actually epic, and I mean, I'm loving seeing the energy and the effort that you're putting into
Yeah.
your comp and like making sure you get the funds. So I know this is the problem, and a thing I love about powerlifting is when I get to chat to guys that like you sort of started a friendship with and built a relation, we can just talk
Mm,
nonsense for an hour before we get to the point. And everyone's going, well, let's hear the
yeah.
story, please. So who's Nate? Tell us a little bit of your background And also, how did you get into powerlifting? And again, also the Western Cape, sort of the committee, because I mean you're quite involved with that as well.
Yeah. So who is Nate? Well, Nate is a 41-year-old father of a 2-year-old toddler, trying to make it in the powerlifting space. So it's been an interesting and um, it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey. I started powerlifting competitively about two and a half years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just so I actually started training, for lack of a better word, gym bro style training about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. So I used to be quite overweight, like growing up and moving into my adulthood and all of that. I weighed 85 kgs at the time.
Okay, sure.
And for me, weighing 85 and being 1.65 meters, it's quite heavy, right?
Mm.
So for me, I actually decided to, to make a lifestyle change. I went on at the time it was called the Atkins diet. That was the thing back then.
You're showing your
It's like
age.
you're 15. I'm showing my
Yeah,
age, and nowadays everybody's like, carb is not the enemy. Carbs are not the enemy. But back then it was the enemy.
yeah.
So we ended up cutting carbs and trying to lose weight. And then I went on a fitness journey,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And I actually was introduced to the gym by a very good friend of mine, Alod Kluti. Shout out Alod. And yeah, so he gave me my first. He gave me he gave me my first training program, which consisted of squatting twice a week, benching twice a week, deadlifting twice a week. And,
Sure.
back then I didn't know how to do any of
Mm-hmm.
those things. And I had to kind of figure out how to do it myself in the gym. I remember going onto YouTube and looking at videos. And actually, I used to take his program and I actually took photos that I screenshot off like YouTube or wherever, and I pasted it into the program so I could kind of like see how to do some of these things and whatever.
Sure.
And that's like
Okay.
how it started. And so it was really it was an exciting journey, especially as I started seeing, the changes, losing weight, and started gaining more confidence in
Mm-hmm.
myself, and started meeting a lot of people as well, that was also in the gym. And yeah, I just really fell in love with training. And then I think a few years ago, about 3 to 4 years ago, a friend of mine, Cheslin, she was into the powerlifting space. So she had a coach, Ziad,
Mm-hmm.
and she told me, why don't I join them one day to come and train? I was like, nah, that's not for me. And I don't want to compete and I don't want to do any of those things. And so she's like, are you sure? She's like, just come and check it out. I'm like, no. And then about a month or two went by, and then she said, just come. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Mm.
And then I had such a good session. I really enjoyed training with them, and it was just such good energy, and it was exciting. And so that's kind of like when the bug bit. And then I was like, okay, like, and then I got a coach. So Ziad was my first coach. And yeah, it was just amazing. Like, I really started loving, following a program. It made such a huge change because before that, I was just kind of like doing my own thing. Like, it was chest day, and then it was leg
Yeah.
day, and then it was this day and that day.
Right.
And yeah, so following an actual program actually started making like all the training that I had done for like almost 8 to 10 years. Like I made so much progress just in a year, just from powerlifting
Mm-hmm.
and following like an actual program. Like even just physically, and then also obviously in terms of my strength, like, because I think having those basic foundations of squat, bench, and deadlift from my start of, when I
Yes.
started training, it made a big difference to when I actually, started powerlifting, because I
Shifting
kind
to
of
the
had like a
powerlifting.
bit of a base.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really exciting. And I think as any power lifter that joins the sport, or new lifter that joins the sport, it's very exciting, and you can get super, like, you can almost get like overexcited in the beginning.
Yeah.
You just want to achieve this and that, and you want to push heavy numbers, and then yeah, so I had that like from the start. It was amazing, and
So
that's
so
kind of
just
like what threw me to the sport. Hmm.
also, so just before we carry on, and I was going to use it as a segue to say, when you said you got a strong base. I was going to say, speaking of a
Hmm.
strong base, We have a comment from Reno Theron Music, and he says, "What a champ!" So that's what I.
Oh,
Very cool
thanks,
there.
Reno. Thanks a lot, brother. You a champ as well. Thank you so much.
100%. Awesome, awesome oaks, you guys. You guys go to the same barber. No,
Oh yeah, I think so. I'm actually met him at Nationals
yeah,
this year,
yeah.
so yeah, he's quite a cool guy. I said
Lovely
next year
oak.
we need to hang out a bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's a interprovincial, sort of support there. Very, very cool.
100%.
Okay, so sorry, I interrupted you. Please carry on.
No, no, no. So yeah, so that's basically how it started, and then there was a fun comp that Southside Strength was
Mm-hmm.
actually having. It was a deadlift competition, and yeah, if I look back at the lifts now and LinkedIn, I'm like, oh my word, my deadlift was terrible. But anyway, so that was the first competition that I did. It was just a deadlift
Mm,
competition. And that was also the first time I lifted 200 kg deadlift. So that was my PB at the time, and it was quite a significant achievement for me at the time.
yes.
And after competing there, I really enjoyed it, and I was like, no, this is something that I really want to pursue and do. So that's then what led me to getting the gear, so getting the SBD belt, and then I had the wrong size belt, and then I had to send it back and get a bigger one, and go through all of that, getting a singlet, and I ended up entering. I think it was Southside. They were having a three. They
Mm,
were having the classic three lift competition. So I entered that. That was my first actual like real competition, and did really well there. Obviously, then qualified to do provincials, and yeah, and that was 2 years ago. So not, yeah, that was 2023. So that's kind of like how it all started. And then I started getting more involved in the sport and meeting more people from the
mm,
community, and really, really loving the people that I've met. I've met some amazing people like on this journey. So it's really been so rewarding. It's been very, very rewarding. Yeah.
sure. Let me ask. Usually, I save this question to the end, but I think it's pertinent for the direction we're going to go with this conversation as well. What does powerlifting mean to you?
Powerlifting to me. Um, powerlifting has given me so much, just in terms of just resilience, perseverance, and kind of coming back stronger than
Mm,
before. So just to give a bit of background on that. So last year, like I've had some like challenges with powerlifting. Like I was in my mind, I was on this trajectory to, doing super well, and I was gonna do this and that, and I had these wild ideas of winning nationals,
hmm
and going to worlds and doing this and that, and getting totally ahead of myself. And I think a lot of
But
people
listen, you know what?
can do that.
Sorry, Nate,
That's
Nate, that's
mhm.
not uncommon. Sorry to interrupt. That
Yeah,
happens with so
yeah,
many
yeah,
of the
yeah,
younger lifters and with new
yeah.
lifters, and also guys are saying, "I'm gonna compete when I can win," and they're giving up all of that
Yes.
experience on the platform. So it's great that you
Mm,
bring that up. So I'd like to chat a little bit
yeah.
more about that. So,
So yeah, so for example, like last year, and I think because of the competitions that I had up leading up to nationals, I won like open. I won Master One because I think the first time I competed at provincials, I was Master One. So
mhm.
I had these big expectations of myself, and I thought that, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna break this record, and I'm gonna, I know that Commonwealth and Master Worlds is happening in Sun City last year. So instead of focusing on nationals last year, my head was
You're
already
already
at
winning
Master
Commonwealth.
World
Yeah,
in
yeah.
years. I'm already in Sun City basically on the platform, and I mean never having stepped on the platform at nationals. So I
No, 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 no,
really
no.
had
Not on the
to.
Sorry, Dave, not on
Mhm.
the platform at
Yeah,
Sun
yeah,
City.
yeah,
On the
yeah.
podium at Sun City already.
On the podium, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So not even making podium. So it was just like these huge expectations, and I just came crashing down like epically, from that pedestal that I put myself on. Like it was actually crazy.
But that's a lot of
And
pressure.
I remember last year. I remember last year when so for nationals, I still went in. I was gonna. My opener squat was 175, right? I get in there and I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. The weight, it's effortless, right? Come up after first attempt. No, fail. They call me for 10th, right? I'm like, oh my word. I'm like, okay, right. Now I need to now readjust and whatever because obviously, second attempt, I
Mm,
just want to get on the board. So second attempt, here we go again. Second attempt, nope, no tip. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I can't believe this. Anyway, third attempt, I'm like, I need to sink this. Third attempt,
mm,
no tip. I was absolutely devastated. Like, Nick, like if I tell you like how, like,
sure.
it was just so disappointing. It was extremely disappointing. And not a lot of people know this, but I actually came off the platform and I just had to take a moment and I just like I don't know if you know the inputs, there's like those little benches just
Yeah.
outside the warm-up area. So I actually sat there, right? And I turned my face away from everyone and I was like just looking into the wall, and I just like burst out crying. I was like actually crying. I was overwhelmed. That I still remember calling two good friends of mine, Nicole and
Mm,
Crystal. You know them.
mm,
So I spoke to them on the phone, and they're like, "No, like it's fine. Don't this. You'll be fine." And that happens. And they just gave me some words of encouragement, and I really really appreciated that. So it meant a lot to me. So thank you, Crystal, and thank you, Nicole, for those comforting words at a time that
mm.
it was really a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that obviously like I'm disqualified, and then I obviously had to make the choice: do I continue to lift, knowing that it's going to be, as we say in Cape Town, for speak and boonkies,
Yep.
or like am I just gonna call it there,
Sure.
like many other lifters would, and then I was like, you know what, I came all the way. I left my family at home to come to Potchefstroom and to compete and to get this experience. So I was like, no, like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it in my stride. I'm going to go out to go bench. Went out to go bench. I almost made the bench record, so my bench went really well actually.
That's
Bench went
huge,
really
though, to
well,
come back from
and
that
then
mentally, Nate. I mean, that's a big thing. You,
yeah,
you,
no, no, it was yeah.
you know,
Say,
you're being like quite flippant with it, but to come back and do it that
mm,
well, firstly, not to walk away from the competition. But what do you
yeah.
think it was that made you put that energy into the bench press?
I think it was just like I thought like to myself, like, what would my son think, like having watching this performance and seeing
Mm,
how I conduct myself and how I come back from this, right? And
sure.
so I really just wanted to show him that that it doesn't matter what happens or what life throws at you. It's all about how you handle it and how you come back stronger. So for me, that is why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna go out and bench now. I'm gonna go warm up. Went on benched, enjoyed the bench. And then when it came to deadlifts, because at the time deadlift was my favorite lift. It's kind of left me in the lurch a little bit lately, but anyway. But and then I went out and then I deadlifted 227.5, which was an unofficial record. Obviously, if because I didn't put up a total, it couldn't be counted as a record. But
Mm,
it was an epic deadlift, and it was a really nice way of ending a really a bit of a disappointing
mm,
day. So yeah, so I had to it was a bitter pill to swallow. I had to eat some humble pie, but I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason in life, and it wasn't my time. There was a lot of things that happened towards the end of last year
mm-hmm.
when I was going to have to, if I had qualified for Commonwealth or Masters, Worlds, and all of those things, it wasn't going to be a good time for me to go because my father wasn't well. He passed away last year, so
Oh,
so there was
sorry,
a
man.
lot of things that actually happened towards the end of last year which made sense, and that was just God's way of
Yeah.
telling me, it's not your time right now, I mean, I accepted that, and I believe that, that is, I don't know at the time, I didn't
Yeah.
know what was going to happen or what the reasons were for what happened, but it all made sense as the year progressed. And 12 months later, um, I'm in a much better space. I think as a lifter, I'm a little bit more seasoned.
Hmm.
I've made some good inroads in terms of powerlifting in the community. I've given a lot back to the community, and
Absolutely.
it's a good place to be. So I'm really really happy with what has happened since that epic three red lights. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm going to be
yeah.
mean. 9 red lights. No, so that's terrible. But
No,
yeah, it was
actually, Nick, you're
Chief.
wrong.
Chief.
You're
Chief gave
wrong.
you a
It
white light.
wasn't.
Huh? Yeah,
It wasn't a nine red
it
light.
was
Yeah, thank
two
you.
to one.
I got the one. I got the
You
one.
got one. Okay, 100. No, no,
Yeah.
100%. I think, no, no, like, what do you, for you, what would you say to some of the younger lifters if they're having that experience? Because, that's the great thing with me. I'm right in the front, whether it's taking the photos or doing the announcing,
Mm,
sitting next to Heather, watching with her, or sitting at the jury table. And
yeah.
you get to see a lot of these poor youngsters, and when I say
Mm,
youngsters, I mean new lifters, come out and open too heavy. They want to
mm,
show the world what they've got, and they're
yeah.
stepping out there in front of the audience or in front of the lights, and they're not, and they
Yeah.
miss one, two, three. And I think if you
Mm,
bomb your bench or you bomb your deadlift, it's not as damaging as bombing your squats because that's like your first
mm.
squat. So
That's your first
yeah,
squat.
I mean, what would you
Yeah.
say to guys that have maybe done that or are going to do
Mm.
that in terms of
I think.
effect?
Yeah, yeah. So for me, Nick, I think it's twofold. So yes, opening to heavy, I mean, it's key to open on something that's really manageable,
Mm,
especially if it's your first time at a national competition or at any competition really, but at a national competition, to open on something that you can rep for 3 to 4 reps,
yeah.
easily. It should just be comfortable. You should just get under the bar and go, and then you're on the board, and then you can focus on what the strategy is of the day. So that's the one thing. But I think also, because looking back at the reasons why I failed, I didn't realize. And if I look back now at, because I record all of my
Mm,
all of my lifts, and so I went back and I reviewed a lot of my lifts, or my squats before nationals last year, and they were all high. Like, they were actually a lot higher than I actually realized. And I think
yeah.
because I became a ref last, it became a because like
Mm,
I became a ref last year, I actually knew exactly what depth is, where depth is,
mm.
and so, and now I can't help myself when I see people squatting at that it's not deep. Like, I try, and I don't always, I won't always tell them, because some people are not open to constructive criticism.
Advice. Let's call it
Yeah,
advice. Yeah.
yeah, but for some people that I do know, and that I'm like friends with, and I'm like, this comes from a place of love, and because that I went through a terrible experience last year, I have to tell you that you just need to watch. You
Yeah.
just have a look and just see. It's not quite there. So yeah. So for me, it's key to also have a look at your lifts, and to make sure that
Mm.
technically your lifts are correct every single time you are training in the gym, so that when you go onto the platform, you've done this 1,000 times before. It's basically just repeating it on the platform,
That's
so
it.
so that for me was also like super key. Yeah.
So, you have to, as an athlete, your job is to make the lift as easy as possible for the referees to pass. So,
Correct.
I, for me, I'd say 5 reps for your opener, easy.
Mm,
Make sure you
mm,
got 2 to 3 inches getting in. It's absolutely vital.
yeah.
And so I'm looking out the wings. The gate to the complex where the studio is open. So I might just go and grab my remote because it is Joburg.
All good,
Um,
all good.
but what I want
This
to,
it is South Africa.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What I did also want to hear from you is being a
Mm,
ref, how's that helped you as a lifter? So jump into that, and I'll be back in a second.
sure. Okay. So yeah, it's like being a ref for me, and a lifter, it's obviously helped in terms of making sure that my depth is there, and that the technical
Mm,
aspects, that they are all met, because it's obviously, I mean, those are going to be the things that the refs are going to be refing you or charging you for. So you need to make sure that that you tick all the boxes.
yep.
Whether the weight comes up or not, that's a different story, but technically everything needs to be there. So from your equipment, shout out to the IPF for the equipment change regulations. But yeah, so from your equipment checks to your lifting, like, yeah, just making sure that everything is in line. So for me, that has been it's made a big difference, because now I also know what to expect.
Mm,
And even though I'm going to worlds, there is an element of nervousness, but not too much, because I've gone through, the rule book, so I kind of know,
mm.
how things run, and what to expect. Yeah,
Because it's not the gym, right? It's a competition, and there
yeah,
has to
it's
be
not the
a
gym.
so yeah, it has to be a standard for international competition, even at
Yeah,
provincial. And I think
correct.
SAPF really deserve to be commended on that, and the drive that they've
Mm.
got. Excuse me. By the way, Nicole's watching, so we better behave. The so the thing with making the level, first it was provincials, that was then nationals became international standard, which really it always
Mm.
was. Then provincials became international standard, and we're seeing
Yeah,
stuff now at even club comp level, where the levels really improving, and where you go to
yeah,
a provincials, it's great experience for an international comp.
yeah,
And as difficult as that is,
correct.
and it's finding that balance, right, between getting new
Mm.
lifters into the sport, keeping them in the sport, but giving those lifters who are wanting to compete at international level a taste of what it's like.
A taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How epic was the platform at SA's, walking out onto that
Oh, the
blue carpet?
platform
Huh?
was it was amazing. Like, and I can say that because I was there last year, so I could see like the big change.
Yeah.
No, it was epic. It was epic. They did an amazing job with that backdrop. Oh, it was,
No.
and having our little
Yeah.
logos from
Yeah.
the different provinces. It was classic. I was like, we need to go and take some photos, at our logo. Come on.
100%. And listen,
Yeah.
you know what the funny thing is? You lifted on the blue carpet that was at Commonwealth
Mm,
and World Masters. So that carpet
wow.
was Commonwealth and
Mm,
Masters. So remember, your dad was looking down at you, and you were on that blue carpet, man, walking out on it.
wow.
That's your
No,
international
he was
level.
definitely there.
Yeah,
Even in the warm up room, the seats in the warm up room. Oh my goodness,
yep,
those Eleco benches. It was
yeah.
epic. I wish I could take one home.
You got to pack it 100%. When the guys are
Yeah.
doing the pack up, didn't we have seven? So
Yeah.
no, I think, and you shared such great stuff, and I think particularly as well with the refereeing and with just
Mm,
dealing with the mental challenge. It's always so important that an athlete understands that the lift that's done is done, right? You got to switch
yeah.
your head into that next lift. And the fact that you were able to do that from that squat straight into bench, absolutely phenomenal. But now let's discuss
Yeah.
something very, very important before we go and talk about the
Mm,
international competition. Probably the most important thing
yeah.
we've discussed on this podcast series over the last couple
Yeah.
of years. Your outfit.
Oh, yes.
100%. You got to be like, give it a thunderclap there, dude. It was. You know what? It was something, and I've seen guys like trying to match the orange. Like we got one or two
Yeah,
athletes
yeah,
that are
yeah.
matching orange or with their blue and
Yes.
the blue shirt. But you absolutely rocked it. What was the idea behind that? Because I think you upped the game
Thank
for
you.
everyone, man. You really upped the game, and I'm sure SBD's watching and going, we've got work to do to help other athletes do this? Because no one's coming
I hope
close to
so.
you.
I
No
hope
one's coming
so.
close to you at the moment. Go ahead.
So luckily for me, I had a contact that was actually, or not a contact, I had close friends that were coming down from the UK.
Mm,
And I had always wanted to get a A7 singlet because I like the style of the A7 singlet.
mm,
There was a different look that I was actually thinking about. So they've got this red. It's like a red. I think it's called Ruby or something,
mm,
but it's also epic. So I was thinking of doing the red, and then because the idea behind it was, like this phoenix rising from
mm,
the
mm-hmm.
ashes, and
Yeah.
especially after getting flamed last year, so that was like what I was thinking, and then I was like, no man, that's a little bit too much. Let's tone it down. And then I thought I saw the white on the website, and then I was like, this looks really really cool. And then I also wanted to get the rigor mortis knee
Mm.
sleeves, which like I don't know if you want to hear the knee sleeves
Sure.
story,
Listen,
because
let's be honest.
oh
It'll get
my God,
it'll get
Nick.
us traction because there's been a lot of knee sleeve stories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's hear this.
So so these friends of mine, they brought the knee sleeves, right? Um, so I did some research before ordering the knee sleeves.
Mm,
So I was like, okay, so I'm wearing a SBD extra small. So I'm like, okay, so what sizing should I get? Looking at the size chart,
mm,
using the
mm.
little tape measure thing, and checking the circumference of the knee and the calf and all these things, speaking to different people, looking at videos on YouTube, I decide, okay, I'm gonna get this small because I'm a 66 kg
Mm.
lifter, right? So, and I'm still going to be losing a bit of weight. I think at the time I weighed about 68. So I'm going to cut and then I'm going to get into 66. So it should be good to go, right?
Right.
Get the knee sleeves, Nick. Oh my Lord. Oh my goodness, were they tight? They were
Really?
tight. No matter what, no matter what I did,
Got to
like,
give you one of
so they would
these.
come up. They would come up, but over the calf they just wouldn't. Like my
Yeah.
calf, and I thought, like, because I since I started leaning out a bit, like my calves have gotten a bit smaller. So I
Mm.
was like, oh, my calves are fine. Like it's gonna no. So I remember Christy. We were at TK's gym at Genesis, and Christy was also training. So Christy does equip. Christy Reed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so she helped me. So she helped me to get them on, right? Because I was like, I need to like today. I'm doing one of my SBD days. I need to squat. I think it was 190 or
Mm.
195, something like that. And I'm like, okay, I need to get these babies on. Struggle, struggle. Christy's like, come, she's gonna help me because she's used to doing equipped, right? So she like helps, and we tugging, we
Mm, mm,
trying to
mm,
get this
mm.
thing up and over the curve, and eventually it goes up. But I'm losing feeling in my feet. Everything below the calf was
Yeah.
like I couldn't feel a thing. It was so painful. It was so painful. She's like, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it or whatever." I'm like, I
Don't.
don't know about this, but okay. Hey, I'm like, I don't know about this, but okay, let's
Yeah.
just let's just do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Now
go.
you.
So I go out there.
Yeah. You can't
Hey,
you can't trust an equipped lifter when they talk to you
no,
about
no.
pain. You can't
And,
trust
and,
Christy
and,
when
and
she
the
talks to you
funny
about pain.
the funny thing is,
Yeah.
I never saw her putting on equip stuff only after that day. And then I was like, this is the whole mission when she puts on the, like,
The
the
reps
suit
and
and
so.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we get them on, and I go out to get, to do my squat. But I was so unstable because my body just didn't know what was going on. My hips and
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
knees and everything was just all over the place. It was unstable. I managed to get the squat, and I was like, okay, I can squat. But then I was like, afterwards, I was like, these sleeves needs to come off immediately. Like
Yeah.
I can't, So then we struggled to pull them off, and we took them off, and I was like, you know what? There is no ways that I am going to be wearing these sleeves for the next 4 weeks, training in them and going to nationals and having an experience like that. There's no ways.
Yep.
There's no ways. I need to size up. I need to size up. I need to get this pair sold, and I need to make a plan.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't even care if the pair doesn't get sold, but I'm gonna buy the next. I'm gonna buy a size up because I need to get it done, ready for nationals. So that rigor mortis, guys, if you want to order rigor mortis, well, maybe not now since
Yeah.
IPF changed up a few things.
No, but that's
But for
apparently
the
why they
for
changed the rules, though, because they heard about your story, and they figured if they can't get the sizing
is
right,
it
yeah, they can't
really?
get the
Damn
sizing
it!
right.
No, Nick, you can't.
It's all
Nick, you
you,
can't
man.
say that. People are people are gonna start blaming
You-
me.
You're going to
Don't
start
worry,
getting some
I
DMs
get
of
my
note. Eh?
I get my still my I'm the most disappointed with this whole ruling, so
Yeah,
believe me. But yeah, at least I can still go and squat in him at World. So that's cool.
yeah, 100% sure.
Yeah,
No,
so yeah.
okay.
That is my knee sleeve story.
And I mean, and again, but that taking the singlet and the look so seriously, I think
Mm,
Gary Player, they refer to him as the Black Knight because he would always
mm.
dress in black. So I'm giving you the official nickname, the White Knight, and I think that's going to
Thank you.
be your
Sounds
lifting
good.
name and color, and that's what you're going to be out there
Sounds
in the
good.
white. Yeah, the White Ninja as well, but I
So
think the White Knight
you're
is good.
putting a lot of pressure on me,
Ne-
Nick, because now I mean there's only so many times that you can
Well, no, because that's the beautiful thing about
oh.
a white singlet. People don't have to know it's the same
Mm.
one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can add a bit of flair. I don't know. Yeah, I think A7 need to get in touch, and you guys need to start to organize and plan
Yeah,
something.
maybe they can sponsor. Yeah, maybe they can sponsor.
Uh,
Shout out to A7.
Come on, A7. No, not even sponsor. I think
They can
collaborate. Yeah,
take a collaboration. They can start sending me some new sleeves.
yeah. Exactly. A7 need a collab here, guys. Come on. It's about time we started to make those singlets fashionable and stylish and looking good on the platform
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
everyone
I
was like,
agree.
wow. So absolutely. All right. So let's chat about
Thank you.
on, only a pleasure. Let's chat about the upcoming competition now and
Yes.
worlds and the sponsorship because I've never seen anyone this organized before in terms of getting stuff done. You got the QR code, the pamphlet, the all of this
Believe
amazing
me,
stuff.
Nick, it's not. Last week was crazy. So the last 2 weeks was absolutely crazy because I'm also like a full-time dad
Yeah,
plus a professional and on the exco, and so there's a lot happening. So last week was absolutely crazy, and I needed to get this fundraiser organized because my
yes,
husband was helping. So he actually organized the whole for me for the fundraiser. And so he's got his own dance school
hmm
and he's quite, familiar and he's experienced in having fundraisers, in doing these kind of things. So he told
awesome.
me, okay, no, we get the hall first and then we do this and we do that. And I'm like, okay, that's all good and well, but I don't have time to do all of this. I need to when am I going to put
Yeah,
the little flyer together? When am I going to do all these things? So luckily, and then last week I was like, okay, I have the info. I know which day and I know which time and I know kind of like the
mm,
format and whatever. So, I tried putting something together and then I was like, this is not really like my thing. I'm not a creative. And then I asked a very, very good friend of mine, Suleiman Albertine. Shout out to Sul Moji. Um, one of my one of my besties.
Wait, hold, then
And
I have
I
to
hope,
do this. Hold on, there we go. We'll give some
yeah,
hearts there to the bestie. How's that?
there we go, there we
Okay.
go. And then yeah, then I was like, Saul, do you mind like doing like the flyer, or what do you think of this flyer? So I made a
Mm,
flyer, and
mm,
if I compare it to the one that I sent you, it looks the one that he made looks much better.
yeah.
And then it's like, it's a little busy, so let's change it up a bit or whatever. So then he came up with a final version. I asked him, can you put a QR code to the form and da 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 da.
Mm.
Da. So he did all of those things for me, which was really sweet of him. So
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I appreciated that. So thanks, Saul, for that.
So now, what is happening with the fundraising? What is it? What's going on? Give us the rundown.
Okay, so I'm having a throwback. So it's almost like an old school style party where you can bring your cooler box, whatever you want to have to drink. If it's a bottle of bubbly, or if
Mm-mm.
it's I don't know, if it's juice, whatever. You can bring it along with your snack. I'm going to have a DJ. some entertainment happening there. And then we're just gonna have a bit of a joy. We're gonna
Awesome.
have and some prizes and yeah. So it's basically just to get people together, good people together, have a good time, and then just yeah, just to celebrate this this upcoming milestone in my life. And um, so I know a lot of people
Hmm.
in Cape Town, especially in Nick, like having been at university and having worked in different corporations as well. So I managed to to build up quite a big network. That my husband David John, he's also got a lot of contacts. So
Mm-mm.
we are very social people. So we know a lot of people and we know a lot of good people.
Mm-mm.
So it's basically just getting these good people together and just every little bit helps. So the ticket price is 150 rand,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't much, I think, for
Not at
for
all.
for music and some live entertainment,
Well, and it's
and then you
and
just
it's
come
to
and have a
support you,
party.
right? That's it. So where is
Yeah,
it and when is
yeah.
it?
So it's happening at Bottasig Community Hall,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on the 30th of May, at 7 o'clock. The event will start.
Okay, that's 7
There's
a.m.
also a
because you're
special
it's 7 a.m. because
7
you're
a.
parents and you need to be in bed.
Look, all I'm gonna say is
7 p.m.
I don't know if I'm gonna
p.m.
I don't think I'm gonna make it later than
Yeah,
10:30
yeah,
because I'm used to being up at like 5 in the morning.
yeah.
But we can push. I had a chat with my coach already,
Mm,
and I told TK, I don't think I'm gonna be able to train on the Saturday because I normally do my SBD days on a Saturday,
yeah,
and that's gonna be my heavy session, my last heavy session before Worlds, right?
right.
So he's like, no, it's fine. We'll move it to the Sunday. I'm like, okay, cool. That's great. Thank you.
Excellent. Just as long as you stay
Yeah, yeah.
hydrated. Oh, awesome. So
Absolutely,
talk to us
absolutely.
about Worlds. What does that mean to you? What's making it so special for you?
So I think for me, the fact that because with our sport, you need to go and compete at an international competition
Mm,
at open level to to get your national
colors. Yeah,
colors, to get your protea. So for me, that's the biggest thing. It's something that I never really dreamed of. Like
sure.
it
Yeah.
wasn't something that I ever thought that I would be able to achieve, and definitely not at the age of 42. I've never been an athlete my entire life, Nick. I was not a sporty person at all.
Mm,
When it was when we had PT class, I would not partake. I would be I would be watching basically.
yeah, yeah.
I'd be the spectator. So becoming sporty or becoming an athlete was never really something that appealed to me or something that I thought that I could be
Mm,
good at,
mm,
so, so for me, like being able to achieve something like this, it just shows you that
sure.
at any age, like if you find something that you love, run with it, run with it, and you never know where it might take you. I mean, this thing that I started 2.5, 3 years ago is taking me to Germany.
Eh?
Like who would have thought? Like, I mean, if somebody told me this 3 years ago, I wouldn't have believed them. I
Yeah.
would have been like, no, you're joking. Come on. So for me, it just means the world really, and it's something that I really want to, inspire other
Mm-hmm.
people. I want to show them, that anything is possible really, and it's never too late. And I must say, like I've been blessed with some amazing people in my life, that supports me, my husband, my family. Um, like really good friends, Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
Crystal, Mo. There's so many people in the powerlifting community itself that has been so supportive and inspirational and always giving like good solid advice. Nicole is such an amazing champion and representative of our sport, and she's had such amazing encouraging
Mm,
words.
mm.
She's always got a good word to say. Crystal, that's my other bestie. Like, like we are like this. You saw the photo,
I
Nick.
saw the photo. Yep. Yeah.
So we actually handled each other at nationals this year, and it was such an awesome experience. So we organized as the Western Cape Exco. We organized handlers for our
Mm,
athletes because we knew that for some of them this would be the first time that they were going to nationals, and they didn't know what's going on, as we all did when we ended up going for the first time. So, we really wanted to give them a good experience, and
Mm.
to show them, what the day is about, what to expect, and we would be there to help them along the way. So we actually created like a little list of handlers, and who could slot in where, who would help where. And we didn't charge any of our athletes a handling fee at all. We did
Sure.
it out of the goodness of our hearts.
Mm.
And it was a great experience. I mean, I ended up handling people from KZN, people that I
Yeah.
just met there like that day. I was like, they were like, I was like, do you want me to help you? And they
Yeah.
were like, yeah. And then I ended up helping them. So, and I think that was the vibe that we were coming with, from the Western Cape. We want to make the sport as inclusive and as supportive as possible. And I
Sure.
think that that's what we are doing. We're creating a
It's
different
very,
vibe.
very evident.
And yeah, yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
So we just want the best for our athletes, and that's it at the end of the day.
No, I think just to go back a little bit, if people want to help and support
Mm,
or get tickets, they can just message you directly on Instagram, reach out.
yeah.
Perfect. That's going to be
So
easy. Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll repost my fundraiser
Mm-hmm.
flyer,
Tag
and then I'll
us.
just tag you in within. You can
Perfect.
just reshare, because you've got the whole powerlifting community
World.
out there.
Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully some of them can also support. And look, if there are people that can't make it, nothing stops them from donating a ticket as well. That would also be much
100%. Yeah.
appreciated.
And I think
So
it's just,
so yeah. So thank you.
yeah, what I'm looking forward to is hearing your story. We're chatting with you when you come back. And I think you're going to be going to
Mm,
a lot of community centers, a lot of schools, a lot of places to go and
yeah,
talk and share the story of inspiration that just because you're not an athlete at school and you're not part of that doesn't mean that you can't perform. And, get a national tracksuit, get to put on
absolutely.
that green and gold tracksuit.
Absolutely.
It's very, very
Yeah.
cool. And I think also the work that you guys
Yeah,
do.
and
Sorry, go for it.
on that also, Nick,
Mm,
for me, it's not just yes, it's important to get the youth in, but it's also important to not like forget about the older folk, right?
yeah,
Especially the ones that
the
never
masters.
ever thought that that the masters and the guys that's in their late 30s,
Yeah,
like I was when I started, like there's so much potential in the sport if you just stay motivated, you just stay persistent, and you just stay disciplined. Like there's so much that you can do in the sport, and it's very, very rewarding. It's a
yeah,
rewarding sport. Like the community, Nick, the community is just amazing.
the
Like
best.
everybody's just, I mean, you were here last year
Yep.
with Western Cape Champs, and it was such a good weekend. Okay, for me, the Saturday I was busy cutting, so I was a bit of a zombie.
No, dude,
I was
you were on
I looked
fire. Hey,
I
you were
looked
on fire.
no, no, Nick, on the Saturday, let me tell
Yeah,
you, I think I was like on 1,200 calories
yeah.
for the day, right? And looking back at some of the video feed, like me riffing, I was like, oh my God, I look like a zombie. So I was focused, but I just looked like I was done.
Yeah.
But last year's camp was amazing. It
Mm,
was the first one that we had as the new exco, and I think we did a really good job.
you did
We
an
we set a really
outstanding
good
job.
standard,
Yeah,
and you really helped us to also to push us up a couple of notches, a couple of levels. So we really appreciate you coming down. And
no pleasure.
I mean, I don't know if people know this, but you never even charged us a thing, which was just such an amazing thing to do. So we really appreciate that, Nick.
My pleasure.
And we expect to see you again in December.
I'm waiting for the dates. What do you mean December? I've got I spoke to Power Cartel
Eh,
yesterday with Jean and Ruben, two
mhm.
lovely guys. And
Yes,
yeah,
yes, I watched that one.
they've
Yeah.
sent me the list already of the comps. So I'm working hard to see if we
Mm,
can get down there for some of the competitions as well, just to come
brilliant.
and
I think it
lift.
would be good to. It would be amazing to do one of the local
Yeah,
local
100%.
club comps. Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just explain to them.
especially
Yeah,
for
yeah.
especially for the guys that are going to be competing, Nick,
Mm,
too, because I think that will be even more motivating
yeah.
for them to, to take up the sport. Yeah,
That's it. And I think it would just give a little bit of a taste of an international level, where there's specific music being played, or, you can't have it as much fun as you
100%.
want, but you can focus on your
Yeah.
lifting, and everyone deserves it. Like for me, where there's grandparents overseas or parents, with some of our lifters at SAs where the folks were up in Africa, they're at home where,
Mm,
we had, and it was just amazing to get feedback and comments where, like, having the opportunity to watch their child perform,
yeah.
at a
Yeah.
national level, having an opportunity to watch friends perform, from any
Yeah.
overseas and anywhere in the world. It's something that we absolutely love doing, and it
Yeah.
means a lot, and it's an opportunity to travel. So the
Mm.
problem, the problem
That's
is,
always a
yeah,
that's always a good,
a good,
yeah.
yeah, I was going to
That's
say,
always a good problem.
100%. You saw how much equipment we brought down. So now I'm going to bring down my bigger
Oh,
spotlight for the next province champs, because we need those 8 spots on you guys. So the guys have a little bit of
I think
experience.
we're gonna we need to try and get like a backdrop as well, like the one that we had at nationals was,
Yeah,
oh, that backdrop was just amazing. So
you know,
it really gives you like this
100%.
international feel,
It
really.
it's such a
Mm,
great that and that's Hani. Hey, Hani's bringing, because of his
mm,
experience with the internationals. He's bringing that. Like, I've been to
yeah.
comps where you have a Gauteng banner, and that's been used for 30
Mm,
years, and it's wonderful that how many people have been lifting in front of that thing over the decades. But where Hani brought the
yeah.
big game in with that thing is, to invest,
Oh
and
yes.
that banner is now going to be able to be used for the next couple of nationals, and it will just add the
Absolutely.
different provinces to it. And
Yeah. Nick,
yeah,
hopefully we'll get the national champs down in Cape Town at some point. That would be awesome.
yeah, 100%.
Eh?
And I think you guys would do an exceptional job with it. And I think
Mm,
really, what I would advise is, if we can. I mean, okay, so October is going to be World Masters in Cape Town. Looking forward to you
in Cape Town,
coming to
yeah.
do that as well. Um,
Absolutely. Yes.
and it's going to be at the Fire and Ice Hotel. It's been amazing. It's a lot of fun hunting for a venue, going down with Hani a couple
Mm,
of times. But the
okay.
biggest challenge with getting the competitions
It's
is
equipment.
the equipment. So, like, Hani's got all of this
Yeah.
stuff over the years, which is why we tend to have it
Mm,
in the province. But I know with Hani,
I
like,
get it.
it's not an issue for him to, if there's some,
Mm,
if there's funding to bring the gear down on a truck, because you got to get it down and get it back up,
yeah.
to do that. So I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
so there are one
The
or two little,
logistics.
yeah, there are one or two little things we're working on, maybe for essays for
Okay.
next year. So I can't
Yeah.
share that just yet,
That would be awesome. I
but
think it would
yeah,
also be nice for, for some of the
mm,
other, I'm sure Gauteng would want to come to Cape Town for a bit.
100. Everybody wants to come to Cape Town.
Like, and KZN maybe would come, they
Yeah.
can shoulder it with some other activities, go out to the winelands, like Nick, didn't you go out to the winelands as
Well,
well? And
no, what?
there's
Yeah.
a few things that you can do.
So for me, obviously, I've been sober for 18 years. So the Wineland visit,
Yeah.
no, but listen, I mean, I stayed in Stellenbosch. It was fab, in the old Stellenbosch Hotel,
Okay.
lovely town. But we're
Yeah.
down there
Yeah.
chatting to companies and businesses to sponsor podcasts so that we can raise funding for more stuff, more gear, um, you
Oh
know,
wow. Okay.
and more things, because
That's
one
amazing.
one of the big things, and I must actually do an announcement about it. We have a lifestyle channel called Emmet Lifestyle, just as you have Emmet Media, and that's going to be
Yeah.
showcasing all of the places in the Western Cape that people should be going to. Because when I've
Yeah.
been to internationals, you don't know anything about the city, you don't know where to go.
Mm.
Being an alcoholic, I have a huge amount of anxiety. So I like to, I end up staying in the hotel, and I'm not comfortable going out. And so,
Okay.
with this, that happened to me when we went to Spain, when I went to
Mm.
Morocco, all of the different places that we've
Yeah.
been to. But so what we're doing now is we're going to showcase what's available in the Western Cape, in Cape Town, and all around.
That's awesome.
But with that, and this is one of the reasons I'm coming down as often as I can, I want to get to all of the gyms. And you spoke about
Okay.
Southside. Like, guys have spoken so much about the competitions at Southside as their
Mm,
first starting point, getting to the gym so that the
yeah.
international guys will say, "Hey, you know what? I want to go and train at a South African gym. Go down to Muizenberg.
Yeah.
Go to what's it, Woodstock. Go to Worcester. Go to the different gyms and have a bit
Mm,
of
give
fun."
them like a
Yeah,
bit of an idea. Yeah,
100%.
I hear you on that because even now with so with Germany,
Mm.
I'm staying a little bit longer in Germany. So I'm going to have to find some gyms in
Yep.
Germany to train at. And I have absolutely no idea. So I have to actually do my own research. So
Yeah.
at least like for somebody coming to South Africa, that would actually be very useful.
100. Yep.
And I mean, obviously Virgin Active is everywhere, but I mean, they don't always have the equipment that we as powerlifters need. So,
And
so
yeah.
if you should also go and visit Genesis. I don't know if you've been there, but that is
Mm,
our
yeah.
powerlifting gym in the Western
100%.
Cape.
I'm
It's
I'm
absolutely
waiting. I'm
amazing.
waiting
Yeah.
for an
So
invite. Um,
you're welcome anytime, Nick.
Thank you.
Anytime. So when you come down in
Yeah.
December, we can go pop by there as
Or
well.
I'd
Yeah,
like no, no, be
for
well done.
sure.
But before that, no, because exactly, no
Mm,
one wants to train in a commercial gym. When you come to a
yeah,
country, you want to go and train at the powerlifting gyms. So I'll chat to some of our German
correct.
connections. I'll say, I need bitte,
Yes,
you
please.
know, and say, right, let's go. And I've done that for other lifters because we've had coaches and
Mm,
lifters from all over the world, firstly coming to train with us and then on the podcast and stuff. Because I've set a rule originally at my gym many years ago. If you're an international visitor,
yeah,
you can train with us for a month at no cost. And that
that's
helps build
amazing.
such a
That's
great
amazing.
network and relationship. So,
Yes.
you guys aren't going to charge international guys to come and visit and hang out. Maybe they'll do a donation. Maybe they'll drop off some gear, old stuff. That's one of the things we're
Yeah.
working on. Mm,
So for me, Nick, I'm very social,
mm,
and I enjoy meeting new people, and I enjoy giving them an experience,
yeah.
that kind of thing. So if people come down to Cape Town, especially maybe
Yeah, for
Master Worlds
masters. Yeah,
when it's here in Cape
100%.
Town, if people want to reach out and they maybe want to do something after the competition, by
They,
all means, like I can put an itinerary together for them.
so I
I
think,
will even go
yeah.
out with them.
So, Nate, I think,
I
love
love
it.
giving people that experience. Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do, dude, and we better wrap up. Sorry, because Instagram only
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us
yeah.
an hour. If we're doing YouTube, it's
All
fine. But
good.
we've had great feedback on Instagram. I'm going to set
All
up
good.
an episode with you on Emmet Lifestyle, and we can chat about your
Okay.
favorite places and haunts in Cape Town as well.
Perfect. That's fantastic. We
Epic.
can do that, Nick.
Sweet. So,
Definitely.
Nathan, thank you so much for your time, dude, and wishing you all the best with this
Thank you
trip.
so much.
Guys, get behind that because I know what you're going to bring back with that experience. And the proof of the pudding is already there because it's what you're already doing as part of the guys running Western Cape powerlifting,
Mm,
growing it, developing it.
yeah.
Everyone that I speak to talks about the community and the love and the passion and the amazing energy in this
Yeah.
province and the amazing support in the province. So absolutely get
Yeah.
behind Nate, help him get there, help him
Thank
get
you.
there comfortably as well. You do want to be able to have a cup of
Thank you.
coffee, when you want to go out.
Thank you so much, Nick. And
Yeah.
yeah, and thank you for having these podcasts and shining a light on some of our lifters in the Western Cape as well. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the exposure and all the help that you provide as we continue to partner with you, and looking forward to seeing you in the Western Cape further
Soon.
down the line this
Yep,
year.
absolutely.
And maybe you'll come to Shimnitz. I don't know. Are you coming to Worlds? Why don't you come with us?
I've got, what I was looking at going to World Bench. I've got a corporate wellness day for one of my oldest corporate
Oh,
on the 20th of May, which is
I
smack bang in
see.
the middle of World Bench. So for now, I'm here, but
Pity man.
things change quickly. So let's see.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
Great. But
Awesome.
thank you so much,
Only a
Nick.
pleasure,
Much
dude.
appreciated. We'll
Really.
chat soon, eh?
You got it,
And you
and
take care.
you've had a ton of people watching, so it's absolutely awesome to see. And we'll get the links to you shortly. All right, Nate. Thanks for your time, bro.
Thank you so
Really
much.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
All
Nick.
right,
Take
my bros.
care, eh?
Take care.
Cheers,
Cheers, dude.
man.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.